Hello everyone, welcome to Abhyarthi IAS UPSC Prelims Current Affairs Series 2024 Day 1. Let us begin. Which one of the following statements is correct? यहाँ पे हमें 4 statements दी गई हैं and we have to select कि इनमें से कौन सी statement correct है. Turmeric is largely produced in the northern states of India. India is the world's largest producer and exporter of turmeric. India has less than 50% share of world trade in turmeric. The headquarters of National Turmeric Board is located in Dehradun. So answer would be option B. Statement B is correct as India is world largest producer, exporter as well as consumer of turmeric. Option A incorrect हो जाएगा as turmeric is largely produced in the southern states of India, that is Maharashtra, Telangana, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu इसके leading producing states हैं. Also, India has more than 62% share of world trade in turmeric, ना कि less than 50% share. And the headquarters of National Turmeric Board is located in Hyderabad, ना कि Dehradun. Recently, National Turmeric Board को establish किया गया by Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So in this question, we have covered all the important information regarding turmeric. Let's move on to next question. Consider the following statements about Asia and Pacific Plant Protection Commission. In this question, we are given 3 statements about Asia and Pacific Plant Protection Commission. We have to select which one of the following statement is correct. Every year, one member country acts as the chairperson of the commission by rotation. No European country is a member of the Asian Pacific Plant Protection Commission. The Director General of Food and Agriculture Organization provides secretariat to the commission. The answer would be A. Only statement which is correct is statement number 3. The Director General of Food and Agriculture Organization, that is FAO, provides secretariat to the Asian Pacific Plant Protection Commission. So why Asian Pacific Plant Protection Commission was in news? Because और जो अदर इम्पोर्टेंट मेंबर कंट्रीज हैं इस कमीशन के एक बार हम गो थ्रू कर लेते हैं. जैसे ऑस्ट्रेलिया, बांग्लादेश, चाइना, डेमोक्रेटिक रिपब्लिक ऑफ कोरिया, इंडिया, इंडोनेशिया, नेपाल, म्यांमार, पाकिस्तान. कीप इन माइंड कि इंडिया, चाइना एंड पाकिस्तान तीनों इस कमीशन के मेंबर हैं. And rest of the member countries you can read by yourself by pausing the video. Next question. Consider the following statements about the urban cooperative banks in India. They primarily operate in urban and semi-urban regions of India. Urban cooperative banks in India account for less than 10% of total credit to agriculture. They have the highest net NPA and gross NPA ratios across the banking sector in India. इन तीनों में से हमें बताना है कि कौन सी स्टेटमेंट करेक्ट है. So the answer would be B. कि इसमें दो स्टेटमेंट्स करेक्ट हैं, which are statement number 1 and statement number 3. As the name suggests that urban cooperative banks primarily operate करते हैं urban and semi-urban regions of India में. Moreover, those urban cooperative banks which operate in single state, उनको regulate and supervise करता है State Registrar of Cooperative Societies, and those which operate in multiple states, उनको regulate and supervise करता है Central Registrar of Cooperative Society and Reserve Bank of India, that is RBI. तो एज पर द डाटा जितना भी क्रेडिट एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर को दिया जाता है उसका 11% डेट इज 11% अर्बन कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स के द्वारा प्रोवाइड किया जाता है. तो इन द क्वेश्चन इट इज गिवन दैट लेस देन 10% टोटल क्रेडिट एग्रीकल्चर को अर्बन कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स देते हैं. सो इट वुड बी इनकरेक्ट. From previous year question we also get to know that UPSC asks such type of questions in which यूपीएससी प्लेज अराउंड फैक्ट्स एंड फिगर्स कि जैसे यहाँ पे बोला है कि 11% है विच इज मोर देन 10%, तो यूपीएससी क्या करेगा कि इसको लेस देन 10% बता देगा। तो इफ अ स्टूडेंट और अ कैंडिडेट हैज प्रिपेयर्ड वेल फॉर द एग्जाम, तो वो इजिली कॉम्प्रीहेंड कर लेगा कि इसमें फिगर कौन सी थी, बिकॉज मल्टीपल रिवीजन से एक बार दिमाग में छप जाता है कि क्या हमने फिगर्स पढ़ी हुई हैं रिगार्डिंग सच टॉपिक, है ना। तो स्टेटमेंट 3 वुड बी करेक्ट एज अक्रॉस द बैंकिंग सेक्टर अर्बन कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स का हाईएस्ट नेट नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट एंड ग्रोस नेट नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट रेशियो, ये दोनों ही अर्बन कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स का सबसे हाईएस्ट है। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, which one of the following tiger reserves has the largest population of tigers in India? Here we are given 4 tiger reserve and we have to select कि किस tiger reserve में largest population of tigers पाया जाता है। बांदीपुर टाइगर रिजर्व, सरिस्का, कॉर्बेट टाइगर रिजर्व और बांधवगढ़ टाइगर रिजर्व। आंसर वुड बी सी, कॉर्बेट टाइगर रिजर्व। रिसेंटली टाइगर सेंसस पब्लिश किया गया। अकॉर्डिंग टू द सेंसस राइट नाउ इंडिया में 3682 टाइगर्स पाए जाते हैं। एंड एज पर द टाइगर सेंसस अमंग ऑल द टाइगर रिजर्व्स जिम कॉर्बेट टाइगर रिजर्व हैज द लार्जेस्ट पॉपुलेशन ऑफ टाइगर्स इन इंडिया। Next question, with reference to semiconductors, consider the following statements. Semiconductors के बारे में हमें ये 3 statements दी गई हैं। We have to select कि इनमें से कौन सी statements correct हैं। China is the largest producer of the semiconductors in the world. Elemental semiconductors can be used to make visible light emitting diodes, जिनको हम LEDs भी कहते हैं। नीति आयोग has been designated as the nodal agency for the India Semiconductor Mission. So answer would be D. None of the statement is correct. So why statement 1 is incorrect? Because Taiwan is the leading producer of semiconductor and not China, and China is placed as third largest producer of semiconductor. Day 2 of UPSC Prelims Current Affairs Series 2024. With reference to fertilizer sector in India, which one of the following is correct? यहाँ पे हमें 3 स्टेटमेंट्स दी गई हैं रिगार्डिंग द फर्टिलाइजर सेक्टर इन इंडिया, सो वी हैव टू सिलेक्ट कि इनमें से कौन सी करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट है। इंडिया इज द लार्जेस्ट कंज्यूमर ऑफ केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर इन द वर्ल्ड। Punjab is the highest consumer of chemical fertilizer in India. The government of India has successively increased fertilizer subsidies for the last decade to safeguard the interest of farmers. So the answer is A. That is only one statement, जो कि है statement number 3, ये correct है। बाकी statement number 1 and statement number 2 are incorrect. Why statement number 1 is incorrect? Because India is not the largest consumer of chemical fertilizers in the world. It is the second largest consumer and the largest consumer is China. इस तरह के फैक्ट्स सिविल सर्विसेज एग्जाम के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट हैं, तो वी हैव टू कीप इन माइंड कि इंडिया की कौन कौन सी पोजीशन है किस किस सेक्टर में। तो यूपीएससी ऐसे क्वेश्चंस ऐसे स्टेटमेंट्स पूछता रहता है टाइम एंड अगेन। Likewise, statement 2 is also incorrect because Punjab is third highest consumer of chemical fertilizer in India, and Uttar Pradesh is the first highest consumer, and Madhya Pradesh comes at second position. थर्ड स्टेटमेंट करेक्ट हो जाती है अगर हम गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के डाटा की तरफ देखें, तो हमें पता चलता है कि सिंस द लास्ट डिकेड गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने सक्सेसिवली इंक्रीज की है फर्टिलाइजर सब्सिडी। प्रीवियस कुछ सालों से फर्टिलाइजर सब्सिडी इंक्रीज की जा रही है ताकि जो हमारे फार्मर्स हैं उनके इंटरेस्ट को सेफ गार्ड किया जा सके और एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर को सपोर्ट एंड बूस्ट किया जा सके, ताकि फार्मर्स की इनकम को डबल करने का जो हमारा एक टारगेट है उसको ऑन टाइम या फिर और सस्टेनेबली अचीव किया जा सके। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, ग्लोबल कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस इंडेक्स इज पब्लिश्ड बाय विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग। यूपीएससी टाइम एंड अगेन एक क्वेश्चन कोई भी इंडेक्स के ऊपर, इंटरनेशनल इंडेक्स के ऊपर जरूर पूछता है। तो इस क्वेश्चन में भी यही पूछा गया है कि ग्लोबल कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस इंडेक्स इनमें से कौन पब्लिश करता है। तो द आंसर इज सी, इंटरनेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट फॉर मैनेजमेंट डेवलपमेंट, जिसको आईएमडी बोला जाता है। ये ग्लोबल कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस इंडेक्स पब्लिश करता है। एंड 2023 के ग्लोबल कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस इंडेक्स में इंडिया का रैंक स्लिप होके 40th रैंक पे आ गया है। एज पर द रिपोर्ट जो टॉप 3 कंट्रीज हैं वो हैं डेनमार्क, आयरलैंड एंड स्विट्जरलैंड। लेट्स मूव ऑन टू नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन। कंसीडर द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट अबाउट इलेक्टोरल ट्रस्ट स्कीम। इलेक्टोरल ट्रस्ट स्कीम के बारे में ये 3 स्टेटमेंट दी गई हैं एंड हमें इसमें चूज करना है कि कौन सी स्टेटमेंट करेक्ट है। Any citizen of India or a company registered in India can donate to an electoral trust. Unlike electoral bonds, electoral trusts do not ensure anonymity for the donor. Not more than 75% of the total contribution received in a financial year can be distributed to registered political parties. Answer is A. That is statement 1 and 2 are correct and statement 3 is incorrect. रिसेंटली अभी ये न्यूज में था कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड स्कीम को स्क्रैप कर दिया है एंड बोला है कि इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड स्कीम अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल है बिकॉज ऑफ द एनोनिमिटी ऑफ द डोनर। दैट्स वाई इलेक्टोरल ट्रस्ट स्कीम जो अभी रिसेंटली काफी न्यूज में थी, तो इसके बारे में ये क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है। स्टेटमेंट 1 एंड 2 आर करेक्ट बिकॉज तो इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड स्कीम में एक एनोनिमिटी रहती है। जो भी डोनेशंस होती हैं, जो डोनर होता है वो एनोनिमस रहते हैं। बट अंडर द इलेक्टोरल ट्रस्ट स्कीम ये एक प्रोविजन था कि इलेक्शन कमीशन को जितनी भी कंट्रीब्यूशन एक पार्टी ने रिसीव की है फ्रॉम इंडिविजुअल्स और कंपनी विद इन अ ईयर, वो सब डोनेशंस इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया को एक रिपोर्ट सबमिट करनी पड़ती थी जिसमें बताना पड़ता था कि कौन कौन सी कंट्रीब्यूशन आई हैं किस किस इंडिविजुअल से या किस किस कंपनी को। एंड ध्यान देने वाली बात यह है कि इलेक्टोरल ट्रस्ट स्कीम कोई नई स्कीम नहीं है, ये यूपीए गवर्नमेंट ने इंट्रोड्यूस की थी 2013 में। सो अगर कई बार एग्जाम में ये भी पूछ देते हैं कि क्या ये नई स्कीम है विच रिप्लेसेस इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड स्कीम, तो नो, इट वुड बी इनकरेक्ट। मोreover, सेक्शन 17C ऑफ इनकम टैक्स एक्ट 1961 के अंडर एनी सिटीजन ऑफ इंडिया या फिर कोई कंपनी रजिस्टर्ड इन इंडिया और अ फर्म और हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली या फिर कोई भी एसोसिएशन ऑफ पीपल लिविंग इन इंडिया ये डोनेट कर सकते हैं इलेक्टोरल ट्रस्ट को। स्टेटमेंट 3 इसलिए इनकरेक्ट है क्योंकि एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एक्सपेंसेस के लिए इलेक्टोरल ट्रस्ट जो होते हैं उनको परमिशन दी जाती है कि मैक्सिमम आप 5% तक का जितने भी उनको फंड्स रिसीव हुए हैं या जितने भी फंड्स उनके पास हैं उसका मैक्सिमम 5% ड्यूरिंग अ फाइनेंशियल ईयर वो रख सकते हैं फॉर एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एक्सपेंसेस। So it means that they must donate 95% of contribution received in a financial year to a political party. कौन सी political parties? ऐसी political parties which are registered under the Representation of the People Act 1951. Next question. With reference to hypersonic missiles, consider the following statements. यूपीएससी ने अभी ये पैटर्न के ऊपर क्वेश्चन पूछने स्टार्ट किए हैं जिसमें 2 स्टेटमेंट दी होती हैं and we have to choose that option in which the second statement provides the best and correct explanation for the statement 1. तो इसमें statement 1 क्या दी गई है, एक सेकेंड, हाँ जी, इसमें statement 1 क्या है, hypersonic missiles are extremely difficult to detect. Hypersonic missiles fly at very high altitude compared to ballistic missiles. तो statement 2 हमारी ये है कि hypersonic missiles बहुत ऊंचे altitude पे fly करती हैं as compared to ballistic missile. So the answer is answer C, which means that statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. Hypersonic missile and ballistic missiles के ऊपर यूपीएससी प्रीवियस ईयर अगर आप क्वेश्चन पेपर देखेंगे तो उन पे भी काफी क्वेश्चंस आए हुए हैं। तो एक बार ये प्रॉपर कंसेप्ट हमें पता होना चाहिए that what is the difference between hypersonic missiles and ballistic missiles. Now why this particular question is being asked? Because recently अभी ईरान ने अनवील किया अपना पता to hypersonic missile. Hypersonic missiles होते क्या हैं? They are such kind of missiles which travel at a speed at least 5 times the speed of sound in air. मतलब जिनकी speed of sound से 5 टाइम ज्यादा स्पीड होती है उनको हम hypersonic missiles कहते हैं। अगर मैक 5 और अबव लिखा हुआ है किसी भी मिसाइल के कंटेक्स्ट में, then it is hypersonic missile. It is true that hypersonic missiles are extremely difficult to detect, but why they are extremely difficult to detect? Because they fly at a lower altitude than ballistic missile. Ballistic missiles फ्लाई करती हैं थोड़ा हायर एल्टीट्यूड पे, बट हाइपरसोनिक मिसाइल्स जो होती हैं वो लोअर एल्टीट्यूड पे फ्लाई करती हैं. दैट इज व्हाई व्हाट हैपेंस कि जो Day 2 of UPSC Prelims Current Affairs Series 2024. With reference to Mission Gaganyaan, consider the following statements. It is a joint collaborative mission of ISRO and NASA. The mission aims to send an Indian crew to high Earth orbit on board an Indian rocket. India will be world's fourth country to send a crewed mission into space after Soviet Union, the USA and China. We have to select how many of the statements given above are not correct. So the answer would be B. A नहीं है, B है. That is only two statements are incorrect, which are statement number 1 and 2, and statement number 3 is correct. With Gaganyaan mission, India has become world's fourth country to send a crewed mission into space after Soviet Union, USA and China. So statement 3 is correct. Statement 1 is incorrect because Gaganyaan is a collaboration between India and France. ISRO will provide main technologies and system for Gaganyaan mission, but Russia और France भी इसमें help करेंगे. Russia इसमें help करेगा with the selection of astronauts and France will help in developing space medicines. Statement 2 is incorrect because Gaganyaan mission will help fly three-membered crew into low Earth orbit at an altitude of 400 km for a period of 3 days. While in the question we were given that it would help fly in a high Earth orbit, which would be incorrect. Next question. With reference to coronal mass ejections, CMEs, consider the following statements. It is a large expulsion of plasma and magnetic field from the sun's corona. After CMEs are released, they travel away from the sun at the speed of light. Unlike the solar flares, CMEs can impact radio communication, electric power grids, and even threaten astronauts in space. We have to select that how many of the statements are correct. So the answer would be A. Only one statement is correct, which is statement number 1. Why coronal mass ejections were in news? Because in June 2023, scientists discovered that a solar eruption, जो कि 2017 में हुई थी, it had maintained a constant temperature for nearly 6 years. Statement 1 is correct because a coronal mass ejection is a large expulsion of plasma and magnetic field from sun's corona. Coronal mass ejections can travel at a varying speed, that is as slow as 250 km per second as well as high as 3000 km per second. So in the question it was given that they can travel away from the sun at the speed of light, which would be incorrect because speed of light is 3 lakh kilometer per second, which is way higher than the actual speed of traveling of CMEs. Additionally, what is plasma? Plasma एक highly ionized gas होती है which is present on sun. While corona क्या होता है? sun का जो outer most part of atmosphere होता है उसको corona कहा जाता है. एंड कोरोना में काफ़ी स्ट्रॉन्ग मैग्नेटिक फील्ड होती हैं एंड जब भी ये मैग्नेटिक फील्ड काफ़ी क्लोजली पैक होती हैं देन व्हाट हैपेंस इज सोलर एटमॉस्फेयर में से सडन एंड वायलेंट बबल्स ऑफ गैसेस एंड मैग्नेटिक फील्ड्स निकलते हैं जिनको कोरोनल मास इजेक्शंस बोला जाता है. Likewise, statement 3 is incorrect because both coronal mass ejection and solar flare can impact radio communication, electric power grids, navigation signals, and even threaten astronauts in space. Next question. With reference to solar flares, consider the following statements. It results when energy stored usually above sunspots is suddenly released. C-class solar flares are large, significant events that have the power to cause global radio blackouts on the Earth. The objective of solar mission Aditya L1 is to monitor sun's high-energy X-ray solar flares. So we have to select how many of the statements given above are correct. So the answer would be B, that is only two statements. Statement number 1 and 3 are correct. And statement number 2 is incorrect. So why solar flares were in news? Because in July 2023, Sun emitted an X-class solar flares which disrupted radio communication over parts of United States and Pacific Ocean. Statement 1 is correct because a solar flare is a tremendous explosion on the sun that happens when energy stored in twisted magnetic fields, which are usually above sunspots, is suddenly released. So there are 5 different classes of solar flares which are A, B, C, M and X. Each of these 5 classes is at least 10 times more potent than the previous class. Here the class denote कि कितना intense solar flare होगा and the number denotes कि उसकी कितनी strength होगी solar flare की. Statement 2 is incorrect because X-class flares are large significant events that have the power to cause global radio blackouts. तो C-class flares जो होती हैं they are slight and have little effect on Earth. Solar flares को हम further divide कर सकते हैं into various categories based on their brightness in X-ray wavelength. जो medium sized M-class flares होती हैं they typically result in radio blackouts which majorly affect in Earth polar regions. Statement 3 is correct because high energy L1 orbiting X-ray spectrometer, which is also known as Helios, is a payload on board India's solar mission Aditya L1 spacecraft. What is Helios? Helios is a hard X-ray spectrometer which is designed to study solar flares in the high energy X-rays. But one of the other payload of Aditya L1 which is SOLEXS, it will measure solar soft X-ray flux to study solar flares. जो भी डाटा कलेक्ट किया जाएगा by the Helios, it will enable the researchers to study the explosive energy release and electron acceleration जो solar flares के impulsive phases के दौरान होती है. Next question. With reference to sunspots, consider the following statements. Statement 1. Sunspot form at areas where magnetic fields are particularly very weak. Statement 2. Sunspots are most common when the sun reaches the peak of its cycle. So the answer would be D, that is statement 1 is incorrect but statement 2 is correct. Why sunspots were in news? Because it is being estimated that sun is expected to reach its peak activity between January and October 2024. Statement 1 is incorrect. Why? Because sunspots are areas where magnetic field of sun is about 2500 times stronger than Earth. Sunspots are areas where the magnetic field of sun is much higher than anywhere else on the sun. Because of this strong magnetic field, the magnetic pressure increases while the surrounding atmosphere pressure decreases. So because of this strong magnetic field, what happens is when magnetic pressure increases, तो उस जगह का जहाँ पे सनस्पॉट्स हैं वहाँ का टेम्परेचर जो है वो कम हो जाता है रिलेटिव टू इट्स सराउंडिंग्स. इससे क्या होता है कि कंसंट्रेटेड मैग्नेटिक फील्ड होने की वजह से सन के इंटीरियर से जो नई गैसेस हैं और जो हॉट फ्लो है वो सरफेस तक नहीं आ पाता। तो इसकी वजह से क्या होता है कि जो रीजन ऑफ सनस्पॉट होता है इट अपीयर्स डार्कर देन इट्स सराउंडिंग एरियाज। सनस्पॉट्स कब बनते हैं? दे आर मोस्ट कॉमन व्हेन द सन रीचेज इट्स पीक ऑफ इट्स साइकिल एंड ये साइकिल होता है अराउंड 11 ईयर्स का। एट द टाइम ऑफ सोलर मैक्सिमम व्हाट हैपेंस इज नंबर ऑफ सनस्पॉट्स दे आर मोर, they are at their peak, and at the time of solar minimum there are very few or no sunspots. सनस्पॉट्स की वजह से अर्थ के मैग्नेटोस्फीयर में जियोमैग्नेटिक स्टॉर्म्स भी देखने को मिलती हैं। एंड व्हाट हैपेंस इज ड्यूरिंग अ सोलर मैक्सिमम सन एमिट्स मोर रेडिएशन देन यूजुअल बिकॉज सन में से जो प्लाज्मा निकल रहा है उसकी वजह से मिलियंस ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स एंड प्रोटॉन्स ट्रेवल करते हैं टुवर्ड अर्थ। And when these charged solar particles enter Earth atmosphere and Earth के मैग्नेटोस्फीयर के साथ जाके मिलते हैं तो वहां पे हमें ब्यूटीफुल auroras देखने को मिलते हैं। But on the other side they can also disrupt infrastructure by negatively impacting satellite navigation, communication and electric power grids. Next question. With reference to solar mission Aditya L1, consider the following statements. India's Aditya L1 is fully indigenous mission. The Aditya L1 spacecraft has a mission life of 6 years. The orbit of Aditya L1 spacecraft is a heliosynchronous orbit which is located nearly 1.5 million km from Earth. How many of the statements given above are correct? So the answer would be A, that is only one statement, which is statement number 1 is correct. Aditya L1 क्या है? ये इंडिया की पहली स्पेस ऑब्जर्वेटरी है टू स्टडी द सन. इट वाज लॉन्च्ड ऑन September 2, 2023. Statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect because ISRO's Aditya L1 solar mission is a fully indigenous effort with the participation of national institutions. Aditya L1 has a mission life of 5 years. The question we were given that it has mission life of 6 years, so it would be incorrect. Aditya L1 mission will help in understanding various phenomena related to sun such as coronal heating, coronal mass ejections, and various other phenomena of space weather. Statement 3 is incorrect because Sun's synchronous orbit, which is also known as heliosynchronous orbit, are Earth-center orbits which have an altitude of 600 to 800 km above the Earth's surface, whereas halo orbit is a three-dimensional periodic orbit that is associated with one of the Lagrange points, which are L1, L2 or L3. These points help us in placing a satellite strategically between Earth and the Sun. This L1 point was selected in order to ensure that the mission lifetime of 5 years is optimally achieved by reducing the fuel consumption, and moreover it will give a continuous and unobstructed view of the Sun. Day 4 of Target UPSC Prelims MCQ 2024. With reference to Convention on Biological Diversity, consider the following statements. Convention on Biological Diversity is the first international legal agreement to cover all aspects of biological diversity. India has ratified all the protocols under the Convention on Biological Diversity. The National Biodiversity Authority was established in the year India became party of Convention on Biological Diversity. We have to select how many of the statements given above are not correct. So the answer would be A, that is statement number 3 is incorrect. Statement number 1 and 2 are correct. Statement number 1 is correct, as Convention on Biological Diversity is the first global legal agreement to cover all aspects of biological diversity. Convention on Biological Diversity ये एक इंटरनेशनल ट्रीटी है जिसका एम है to conserve biodiversity and use its components sustainably and share the benefits of genetic resources fairly and equitably. इस कन्वेंशन को अडॉप्ट किया गया था 1992 में अर्थ समिट जो कि रियो डी जनेरो में हुई थी, एंड इसको 196 नेशंस ने अभी तक रेटिफाई कर दिया है. कन्वेंशन ऑन बायोलॉजिकल डाइवर्सिटी इज लीगली बाइंडिंग एंड कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑफ पार्टी इसकी गवर्निंग बॉडी है. इसका सेक्रेटेरिएट है मॉन्ट्रियल कनाडा में. स्टेटमेंट 2 इज करेक्ट because there are 3 total protocols which are covered under the Convention on Biological Diversity. These are Nagoya Protocol on Access and Benefit Sharing, Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety, and Nagoya and Kuala Lumpur Supplementary Protocol on Liability and Redress to the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety. And India इन तीनों ही protocols का signatory है. Cartagena Protocol इंडिया ने साइन की थी 2003 में, whereas India ratified the Nagoya Protocol in 2012 and India ratified Nagoya Kuala Lumpur Supplementary Protocol in 2014. Statement 3 is incorrect because India ने ratify किया था Convention on Biological Diversity in 1994, whereas National Biodiversity Authority 2003 में establish की गई थी under the provisions of Biological Diversity Act of 2002. Next question. With reference to shelf clouds, consider the following statements. Shelf clouds are usually associated with solid line of storms. Shelf clouds rotate on a vertical axis, sometimes strongly. These clouds are smaller and more compact than wall clouds. How many of the statements given above are correct? So the answer would be A, that is only statement number 1 is correct and statement number 2 and 3 are incorrect. Shelf cloud क्या होते हैं? Shelf clouds are type of low-lying horizontal cloud. They are formed along the leading edge of thunderstorm. Why shelf clouds were in news? Because recently उत्तराखंड में shelf cloud के formation को देखा गया and इसकी काफी videos भी viral हुई. Statement 1 is correct because shelf clouds are often associated with a solid line of storms. Likewise, statement 2 is incorrect because shelf cloud appear to rotate on a horizontal axis, whereas in the question we were given that they rotate on a vertical axis, which would be incorrect. Mainly cumulonimbus clouds, they are associated with the formation of shelf clouds. Shelf cloud बनने के पीछे क्या फिनोमिना है? Whenever a cold down draft जो कि cumulonimbus cloud से originate होता है and it reaches ground, तो उसकी वजह से cold air जो होती है वो ground पे फैल जाती है and cold air के sink होने की वजह से जो पहले से existing warm air है it is pushed upwards. तो इस वार्म एयर के राइज होने की वजह से क्या होता है कि जो वाटर वेपर कंडेंस होते हैं उससे जो फॉर्मेशन बनती है क्लाउड्स की वो ऐसे लगता है कि जैसे वेरियस टाइप ऑफ शेल्फ्स होती हैं उनको एक तरह से स्टैक करके लगा दिया गया है, तो इसकी वजह से शेल्फ क्लाउड्स जो हैं वो फॉर्म होते हैं. स्टेटमेंट 3 इज इनकरेक्ट बिकॉज जो वॉल क्लाउड्स होते हैं दे रोटेट ऑन ए वर्टिकल एक्सिस and जो wall cloud होते हैं they are much smaller and more compact than shelf cloud and they are usually under a rain free cloud base. The phenomena of formation of shelf cloud is perfectly captured in this picture. It shows that how the cold air is sinking and warm air is rising and the formation of shelf cloud is taking place. Next question. With reference to Karst Plateau, consider the following statements. It is situated on the hills of Sahyadri range in the Western Ghats. The Karst Plateau is made of igneous rocks. It is a part of UNESCO World Natural Heritage Site list. How many of the statements given above are correct? So the answer would be C. यहाँ पे D दिया गया है which would be incorrect. Answer होगा C. All of the statements are correct. Statement number 1 and 3 are correct because जो Karst Plateau है it is situated on the high hills of Sahyadri range in the Western Ghats. वेस्टर्न घाट्स को महाराष्ट्र एंड कर्नाटका स्टेट में सह्याद्री भी कहा जाता है. कास्ट प्लेटू ये सतारा डिस्ट्रिक्ट ऑफ महाराष्ट्र में पाया जाता है. बेसिकली जो कास्ट प्लेटू है इट इज मेड अप ऑफ इग्नियस रॉक्स. तो स्टेटमेंट 2 इज आल्सो करेक्ट एंड कास्ट प्लेटू इज अ पार्ट ऑफ वेस्टर्न घाट बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व which is declared as a UNESCO World Natural Heritage Site in 2012. ड्यूरिंग द मानसून कास्ट प्लेट्यू में बहुत सारे वाइल्ड फ्लावर्स की प्रजातियां पाई जाती हैं, तो इसलिए इसको वैली ऑफ फ्लावर्स भी कहा जाता है. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. विद रेफरेंस टू शॉर्ट लिव्ड हेलोजेंस SLH, consider the following statements. Short lived halogens emissions from the ocean are same across the world. Short lived halogens are naturally produced by algae and phytoplankton in the ocean. So in this question, we have to select whether statement 2 is the best and correct explanation for statement 1. So the answer would be Just a second. Answer would be D. That is statement 1 is incorrect, but statement 2 is correct. Why short-lived halogens were in news? Because according to a study published in Nature, which is a journal of science, short-lived halogens released by the oceans could increase their cooling contribution to the planet by 18 to 31%. So statement 1 is incorrect because short-lived halogens के emissions they are not same across the oceans in the world because near the continent the emissions are small while they are bigger in polar regions and in some places which have higher ozone levels. Likewise, statement 2 is correct. Why? Because short-lived halogens are produced naturally by living organisms like phytoplankton and algae which are found in oceans. So basically what are halogens? Halogens are family of non-metal elements. They are found in group 17 of the periodical table and they consist of 6 elements which are fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine and tennessine. मोस्टली देखा जाता है कि जो हेलोजेंस इन्वायरमेंट में पाए जाते हैं दे आर इन द फॉर्म ऑफ आयन्स और कंपाउंड्स because they are highly reactive so that is why they exist in elemental forms and इनकी जो elemental forms हैं they are short lived and they basically exist as diatomic molecules. Oceans जो होते हैं they are the largest reservoirs of bioavailable chlorine, bromine and iodine. So basically these short-lived halogens have a lifetime of less than 6 months in atmosphere and they are naturally found in oceans. Oceans play a significant role in moderating the climate. They cool the planet by releasing short-lived halogens such as chlorine, bromine and iodine. At present, ये जो halogens हैं, they contribute about 8 to 10% of cooling of the planet. But it has been estimated by the recent studies done by Nature Journal that 18 to 31% of the cooling of planet would be done by these short-lived halogens. It has to be noted here that the effect of short-lived halogens on methane is opposite. That is, they increase the methane's lifetime in atmosphere by destroying hydroxyl radicals. Moreover, halogen also increase the level of water vapor, which is also a greenhouse gas in the atmosphere, and this contributes to increasing warming effect on the planet. Moreover, the short-lived halogens they reduce the formation of cooling aerosols. But if we have to look at the net effect of the short-lived halogens, they produce a net cooling effect. Next question. With reference to Arabian Sea, consider the following statements. The Arabian Sea has witnessed a more than 50% increase in the frequency of cyclonic storms since 2001. Statement 2. The sea surface temperature over the Arabian Sea has drastically increased in recent decades due to massive undersea eruptions. So from the below given options, we have to select whether statement 2 provides the best and correct explanation for statement 1. So the answer would be C. That is statement number 1 is correct, but statement number 2 is incorrect. So according to a recent study, the sea surface temperature over the Arabian Sea has increased by 1.2 degrees Celsius to 1.4 degrees Celsius in recent decades. And as per a research paper published in Nature Journal, there is a 52% increase in frequency of cyclonic storm during 2001 to 2019 time period in Arabian Sea, while there is a decrease of 8% in Bay of Bengal. Because the main reason behind this increased intensity of cyclonic storm over the Arabian Sea is rising ocean temperature and increased availability of moisture due to the global warming. In the question we were given that the increased cyclonic activity in Arabian Sea is linked to undersea eruptions, which would be incorrect. Day 5 of Target UPSC Prelims MCQ 2024. With reference to steel sector of India, consider the following statements. The steel industry in India has grown significantly over the last decade. India is currently world's second largest producer of crude steel. Odisha is the largest producer of stainless steel in India. How many of the statements given above are not correct? So the answer would be D. That is, all of the statements are correct. India is world's second largest producer of crude steel. First largest producer is China. The steel sector in India has grown significantly over the last decade, with the production of steel increasing by 75% since 2008. It has been estimated that in financial year 2024, India's steel production is estimated to grow by 4 to 7%. Statement number 3 is also correct. The state of Odisha is the largest producer of stainless steel and it has more than 20% of the steel making capacity of India. Some of the major steel producers which are located in the state of Odisha are Tata Steel, Jindal Stainless Steel and Jindal Steel and Power Limited. The state of Odisha is also considered as the mineral hub of India because of the total mineral reserves found in the country, 92% of chromite, 92% nickel, 52% bauxite, 44% manganese, 33% iron ore and 24% of the coal reserves are found in the state of Odisha only. It is also to be noted that of the country's total iron ore production, about half of the iron ore production is produced in the state of Odisha. Next question. Which of the following statements are correct about Corporate Debt Market Development Fund, CDMDF? It is an alternative investment fund. It will be established in the form of trust under SEBI regulations. All mutual funds are mandated to contribute 1% of their asset under management to the Corporate Debt Market Development Fund. So, how many of the statements are correct? Answer would be A. That is only statement number 1 and 2 are correct. यहाँ पे थोड़ा सिंटेक्स एरर है नंबरिंग में, otherwise everything is good. So why corporate debt market development fund was in news? Because the government of India notified to set up a 30,000 crore corporate debt market development fund, which will act as a safety net by investing in corporate debt securities in order to stabilize the market when there is a market dislocation. So basically, a corporate debt market development fund, it was announced in financial year 2022 budget. So statement number 1 and 2 are correct because corporate debt market development fund, it is a notified alternative investment fund in the form of trust under the SEBI's regulation. ये development fund will help in purchasing investment grade debt securities. It has to be noted that the fund is mainly for debt securities, not for equity securities. So it will purchase those investment grade debt securities both in stressed and normal times in order to help in the development of bond market in India. So statement 3 is incorrect because all mutual funds are required to contribute about 0.25% of their specified funds asset under management to the corporate debt market development fund. In the question we were given that the mutual funds are mandated to contribute 1%, which would be incorrect. Additionally, according to SEBI, specified debt-oriented mutual fund schemes and asset management companies, they must contribute to the debt management fund. Moreover, it is given that specified debt-oriented mutual fund schemes shall contribute 25 basis points of the asset under management to the fund, whereas asset management companies shall make a one-time contribution which is equivalent to the 2 basis point of asset under management debt-oriented mutual fund schemes. Moreover, SEBI has also mandated that those asset management companies of new mutual funds shall have to make a one-time contribution which is equivalent to 2 basis point of their specified debt-oriented mutual fund schemes, which is based on the asset under management at the end of the financial year. One of the important facts to consider is that this fund will be eligible to take leverage of up to 10 times of contribution to the corpus from banks or bond market or repo market. Next question. With reference to special economic zones SEZs, consider the following statements. Special economic zones have not been able to contribute significantly to India's export due to sluggish growth and underperformance. To revive SEZ, recently government has allowed all units operating within special economic zones duty-free sales in the domestic market. At present, there are no operational SEZ unit in the northeast region of India. How many of the statements are not correct? So the answer would be B. That is only statement 3 is correct and statement 1 and 2 are incorrect. Why the special economic zone were in news? Because the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, it notified some amendment in the special economic zone rules of 2006. So statement 1 is incorrect because according to the data provided by the Union Ministry of Commerce and Industries, special economic zones have emerged as an important contributor to India's export. And special economic zones से जो export होते हैं, they have witnessed a rise of 3,300%. So it is a very significant rise which makes them an important contributor in India's overall export. Further, in the last 15 years, investments in special economic zones have increased by 15,300%. The value of the total exports from special economic zone in USD is 155.8 billion, of which 61 billion is of merchandise and 94 billion is of service exports. Likewise, statement number 2 is incorrect. Since the very initiation of the special economic zones, they are allowed to sell their products in the domestic tariff area or domestic market on payment of certain duties on an output basis. So in the question we were given, just a second. Yes, in the question we were given that they are allowed duty-free sales in the domestic market, which would be incorrect because they have to pay certain amount of duty. So that is why government is looking forward to ease certain restrictions which are levied on the special economic zones in order to promote value addition and growth of the special economic zones. Statement 3 is correct. As of August 2023, none of the 5 special economic zones which were approved for the northeastern region of India, so none of them have become operational. Among the 5 special economic zones which were approved in northeastern region of India, there are 2 IT special economic zones which were approved for Imphal, Manipur and Sikkim, and 2 special economic zones are approved for the state of Nagaland and 1 is approved for the state of Tripura. None of these 5 special economic zones is yet operational. So statement number 3 would be correct. Next question. Consider the following statements about Agriculture Accelerator Fund. It aims at bringing innovative and affordable solutions for challenges faced by farmers. It is set up to encourage agri startups by young entrepreneurs in rural areas. So which of the statements given above are correct? And answer would be C. That is, both of the statements are correct. Why Agriculture Accelerator Fund was in news? Because the agriculture credit target has been raised to 20 lakh crore in the interim budget of 2024-2025, which emphasized on the welfare of the farmers. And the Agriculture Accelerator Fund, which was announced in the budget 2023, the allocation to this fund has been continued. So statement number 1 and 2 are correct that the finance minister in the budget 2023 announced the setting up of Agriculture Accelerator Fund. It promotes the agriculture startups by young entrepreneurs in rural areas. The fund is targeted at bringing innovative and affordable solutions for challenges faced by farmers. देखिए ये जो एग्रीकल्चर एक्सेलरेटर फंड है, it helps in promotion of modern technologies for transforming farm practices and it will boost productivity and profitability. So as per the official data, as much as 348 startups received financial support in the financial year 2023 under this accelerator fund. With this fund, the government aims to fast track the agriculture entrepreneur activity in the country because right now half of the workforce is employed in agriculture and agriculture sector itself brings only 18% of the GDP of the country. So in order to increase profitability and the contribution of agriculture to the overall GDP, the government has introduced various initiatives such as Agriculture Accelerator Fund. Next question. With reference to edible oil, consider the following statements. Statement 1. India imports nearly 60% of its total annual domestic edible oil consumption. Statement 2. India produces a negligible amount of sunflower seed and sunflower oil against its consumption. So we have to select whether statement number 2 provides best and correct explanation for statement number 1. So the answer would be A, that is both the statement number 1 and 2 are correct, and statement number 2 provide the correct explanation for statement number 1. So recently, Food Safety and Standard Authority of India, it said that there is no scientific rationale behind banning the blending of edible oils such as sunflower oil because there are no safety or health concerns in consuming them. It is correct that India imports around 25 metric ton of edible oil, which is nearly 60% of its total annual domestic consumption. India primarily imports 8 metric ton of palm oil and 2.7 metric ton of soybean oil and 2 metric ton of sunflower oil because domestically India में जो sunflower seeds and sunflower oil की production है it is negligible as compared to its consumption. But if we consider Agriculture Ministry's data, so India's production of sunflower seed has increased. It was nearly 110,000 tons in year 2021, but it has increased to 2 lakh ton in financial year 2022. But the domestic consumption of sunflower oil is 2.5 metric ton, so it creates a huge supply gap, which is met through import from countries like Ukraine, Russia, and Argentina. So, as per the current Food Safety and Standard Regulations, blending of two edible oil is permitted. बट इसमें एक कंडीशन है कि जितना भी एडिबल वेजिटेबल ऑयल यूज होगा ब्लेंडिंग में वो बाय प्रोपोर्शन बाय वेट वो एटलीस्ट 20% होना चाहिए. जो ऑयल कंपनीज है उनके ऊपर भी ये मैंडेटरी है कि जितना भी ब्लेंडिंग उन्होंने की है उसकी ब्लेंडिंग रेशियो दे हैव टू डिस्क्लोज ऑन द लेबल ऑफ द बॉटल. Some more important data about India's edible oil production is that in year 2022, India की edible oil production from domestically grown oil seeds and from alternative sources such as cottonseed, rice bran, maize, corn, it was 10.3 metric ton. So the share of domestic production in total edible oil production becomes 38.6% only. जितने भी edible oils import किए जाते हैं उसमें palm oil is about 57%. एंड सेकेंड नंबर पे इंपोर्ट हम करते हैं सोयाबीन ऑयल विद विच इज 29% एंड सनफ्लावर ऑयल थर्ड नंबर पे विच इज 14%. इंडिया मेजरली किन कंट्रीज से इंपोर्ट करता है पाम ऑयल? इंडोनेशिया एंड मलेशिया से. वेयर एज सोयाबीन ऑयल बल्क में हम इंपोर्ट करते हैं फ्रॉम अर्जेंटीना एंड ब्राजील से. इंडिया क्रूड सनफ्लावर ऑयल मेनली रशिया एंड यूक्रेन से परचेज करता है एंड रोमानिया एंड नीदरलैंड इसके दूसरे इमर्जिंग करंट पार्टनर्स हैं.